to quote Al Gore, accepting the Nobel-Peace-Prize in 2007. We, the human species, are confronting a planetary emergency, a threat to the survival of our civilization that is gathering ominous and destructive potential, even as we gather here. But there's hopeful news as well. We have the ability to solve this crisis and avoid the worst, though not all, of its consequences, if we act boldly, decisively, and quickly. And that's the key. Quickly. Very quickly. However, despite a growing number of honorable exceptions, too many of the world's leaders are still best described in the words Winston Churchill applied to those who ignored Adolf Hitler's threat. They go on in strange paradox, deciding only to be undecided. Adamant for drift, solid for validity, all-powerful to be impotent. So today, we dumped another 70 million tons of global warming pollution into the thin shell of atmosphere surrounding our planet, as if it were an open sewer. And tomorrow, we will dump a slightly larger amount, with the cumulative concentrations now trapping more and more heat from the sun. As a result, the earth has a fever, and the fever is rising rapidly. The experts have told us it is not a passing affliction that will heal by itself. We asked for a second opinion, and a third, and a fourth, and the consistent conclusions, restated with increasing alarm, is that something very basic is wrong. We are what is wrong, and we must make it right. Last September 21st, as the northern hemisphere tilted away from the sun, scientists reported with unprecedented distress that the North Polar ice cap is falling off a cliff. One study estimated that it could be completely gone in less than 22 years. Another new study, to be presented by U.S. Navy researchers later this week, warns it could happen in as little as 7 years. That's not very long. 7 years from now. In the last few months, it has been harder and harder to misinterpret the signs that our world is spinning out of kilter, out of balance. Major cities in North and South America, Asia and Australia are nearly out of water due to massive droughts and melting glaciers. Yes, they've always been melting, but now they're melting faster and faster. It's the rate. It's the rate of change, the rate of melting that is of concern. Desperate farmers are losing their livelihoods. Peoples in the frozen Arctic and on low-lying Pacific islands are planning evacuations of places they have long called home. Huge, unprecedented wildfires have forced 500,000 people from their homes in one country and caused a natural emergency that almost brought down the government in another. Climate refugees have migrated to areas already inhabited by people with different cultures, religions, and traditions, increasing the potential for conflict. Stronger storms in the Pacific and Atlantic have threatened whole cities. Millions have been displaced by massive flooding in South Asia, Mexico, and 18 countries in Africa. As temperature extremes have increased, tens of thousands have lost their homes. We are recklessly burning and clearing our forests and driving more and more species into extinction every day. The very web of life on which we depend is being ripped and frayed and broken. We never intended to cause all this destruction. But then again, it's happening very rapidly. Unlike most other forms of pollution, CO2 is invisible, tasteless, and odorless, which has helped keep the truth about what it is doing to our climate out of sight and out of mind. Moreover, the catastrophe now threatening us is unprecedented. We often confuse the unprecedented with the improbable. No, yes, it is happening. We also find it hard to imagine making the massive changes, yes, very massive changes, that are now necessary to solve the crisis. When large truths are genuinely inconvenient, whole societies can, at least for a time, ignore them. Yet, as George Orwell reminds us, sooner or later, a false belief bumps up against solid reality, usually on a battlefield. Indeed, without realizing it, we have begun to wage war on the earth itself. Now, we and the earth's climate are locked in a relationship familiar to war planners, mutually assured destruction. More than 2 decades ago, scientists calculated that nuclear war could throw so much debris and smoke into the air that it would block life-giving sunlight from our atmosphere, causing a nuclear winter. Their elegant warnings here in Oslo helped galvanize the world's resolve to halt the nuclear arms race, even though there's still nuclear arms around. Now, science is warning us that if we do not act quickly, if we do not quickly reduce the global warming pollution that is trapping so much of the heat our planet normally radiates back out of the atmosphere, we are in danger of creating a permanent carbon summer. Massive global climate change. As the American poet Robert Frost wrote, "Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. Either, he notes, would suffice, but neither need be our fate. It need not be our fate. It is time to make peace with the planet. We must quickly mobilize our civilization with the urgency and resolve that has previously been seen only when nations mobilized for war. These prior struggles for survival were won when leaders found words at the 11th hour that released a mighty surge of courage, hope, and readiness to sacrifice for a protracted and mortal challenge. These were not comforting and misleading assurances that the threat was not real or imminent. They would affect others, but not ourselves. That ordinary life might be lived even in the presence of an extraordinary threat. That providence could be trusted to do for us what we would not do for ourselves. No, God is coming back very soon. Yes, He's here in spirit. He's coming back all the way with the angels, Jesus Christ. They will show us and tell us how to fix the earth. But yes, what Al-Gore is saying, it is the truth. It is close, very close. But I do not see this happening. I do not see human civilization fixing the planet Earth and its climate. I don't see the moral resolve. I don't see our leaders. Well, in the United States, we have a leader that's not going to fix anything. He's the breaker, the destroyer. Mr. Revolution, or Revelations, chapter 13. Anyway, so nothing happens in 2008. If the United States does not lead the way in reducing global emissions, then it's not going to happen very well, is it? Because the time to act is now, immediately. I don't see it. It's the reason God has to come back. And He always comes back. Truth also has the power to unite us and bridge the distance between me and we, creating the basis for common effort and shared responsibility. It's time to band together. Period.